The rumor going around is that Ubisoft is working on a free-to-play shooter that will embody elements from the Tom Clancy games, specifically Splinter Cell, The Division, and Ghost Recon. And I heard this and my mind exploded because I want this so bad. And I love all of those franchises. And I love Ubisoft. So I started thinking, what would that game actually look like? And I thought it'd be fun to kind of go through some of the old gameplay with you guys today, talk about what we may see. I don't know. This is totally speculation. This hasn't even been reported yet. This is just reportedly reported, as in like a leaker saying, hey, I heard a guy who heard a guy. But we're fully into E3. This is the kind of stuff that we do. The other thing we do, we subscribe to the channel. That's right. I would love your support. So I'm going to jump over to the full screen image now. Bye. And there we go. Okay. We are now taking a look at a Polygon article that is by Owen S. Good. And I want to point out, by the way, everything I'm about to show you guys is got a link in the description below. Do yourself a favor. Click on these links on your own. Give them some love. All right. Owen S. Good reports that Tom Clancy, Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, the Division franchises will cross over in a new multiplayer game made by Ubisoft, which has now been leaked. Supposedly the project codename Battlecat has surfaced from some deleted posts by a Twitter user known as 0bytes0. They said the images are authentic, supposedly, and obviously we can't see them because they've been removed. So what I thought was interesting, and what I actually did, was I went back and I pulled up, and this is not my gameplay. I just want to point this out, but I want to show you guys some of this stuff. Do you remember the Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow? That was a very, very, very interesting gameplay mechanic, because what happened there was, oh my God, look at these graphics. Look at these. Oh, look at the HUD. This was a multiplayer game where it was spies against mercenaries. So the spies played in third-person perspective. They were obviously sent around to uncover data, hack into computers, that sort of thing. The mercenaries played in first-person combat. Now, there were places that the mercenaries could go that the spies couldn't go, and inverse, obviously, like the spies could climb through air vents, the mercenaries could walk through particular doors. And the idea was that the mercenaries could see where the spies were at based on different gates that they crossed over. And the objective was, obviously, for the mercs to kill the spies and for the spies to get the data and leave. Mercenaries were impossible to take on, directly, so the spies had to be crafty and kind of stealthy and move around the map, where the mercenaries more lumbering, just running around, shooting, full aggressive combat. And really, really cool multiplayer that was just totally, two different types of gameplay, depending on which one you got. I love gameplay where basically they're not the same. In other words, it's two different experiences. There you could see a spy jumps right through the air vent. Mercenaries like, oh man, spy gets away. And then you could also look at it just really briefly. I'm going to jump over to some of the spy gameplay. And boy, does this bring back memories from the GameCube version of Splinter Cell. Man, I love that game so much. I played the heck out of the OG Splinter Cell with really cool thermal vision. Anyways, spies obviously a little different look. They're looking at more the way they crawl around. They hide in the shadows. They have to use thermal vision and gadgets to try to navigate around. So we may get a taste of this where it is two different factions fighting each other that may give you two different looks. Might be a bit aggressive for Ubisoft to pull out, especially in a free-to-play model, but this really opens up the possibilities of two very distinct types of gameplay. You could have something that's, I know this is going to be microtransaction heavy. That's what I think just pisses me off about this. I already know we're going down that road. You say free-to-play, that instantly means give me money. But I could totally see this working with a monetized thing where obviously you're basically doubling the amount of skins and gadgets and goodies and everything that people will feed into different operators and different mercenaries from other franchises, more notable characters, from all of their series. Maybe you can even pull in stuff from Far Cry. I don't know, right? But this would be really, really cool. Then I thought immediately about The Division. and how much fun the Dark Zone was. And this particular video brings back a lot of, this is why I specifically picked this one, the tension of the extraction in the Dark Zone when you're playing with a squad of your friends versus potentially other squads. Now, these guys all play nice, thankfully, and they all are able to extract their stuff together. But I remember everybody standing off around the helicopter waiting, and everybody was open mic, and everybody's like, hey, are you cool? Yeah, I'm cool. Are you really? And then somebody would come out. It turned into a big shooting spree. You were trying to steal the other people's loot. There was a lot of tension, a lot of hurt feelings when you had your stuff stolen, a lot of excitement when you stole somebody else's stuff. But this tension of everything funneling into a very specific point, way much more so than a Warzone type game or, a Battle Royale type game where the circle's closing. These very distinct points, when you were extracting, it let everybody on the map know, hey, somebody's here. They have something of value. Everybody shows up to see what's going on. A lot of tension, a lot of just everybody huddles very, very rapidly to, work to potentially help each other, maybe not. So I immediately thought this would be in a really amazing multiplayer too, where you have these objectives where you have to work against other teams and almost force PvP by everybody working, for their own little kind of good in a sense, but also forced to kind of get into a very specific point. And some of these moments were so tense. I mean, really, this one works out really well. But I just remember spending 30, 45 minutes grinding for like a distinct drop in Warzone, in the Dark Zone, getting it, and then trying to extract it without everybody else being a jerk. And it was very, very, very hard to do. You had wanted levels that were introduced. If you were basically going around killing players, then everybody could see you on the map, which made you a higher target for other people. So you could be a bully only up to a certain point. Then you were the bully, the hunter becomes the hunted, etc. That really brought on a lot of strong memories, and I would love to see something like that pan out again. And then lastly, I thought about the somewhat ill-fated Ghost Recon BREAKPOINT. They had a multiplayer mode there. This is from the official trailer, where you had the 4-on-4 teams fighting each other with distinct loadouts and an ever-shrinking map. Very tactical based. Lots of cover, lots of gadgets trying to complete certain objectives. It just didn't really work out. It never really felt fleshed out to me. It wasn't that fun to play. While it did have great things like progression and distinct areas from the map, and the whole thing with the technology and the gadgets and the night vision-y kind of stuff, that was all really a lot of fun. It just didn't really take off. Subscribe again. Hey, sorry. I guess I didn't turn that source off. But you had all of these really fun elements that were kind of like baked into that, and I would love to see a mode where that was further fleshed out, like more deathmatch type based, semi, and I want to say open world, but big enough that you could, navigate through buildings or take the mountains around the side, where you could use really cool upgrades to jam things. And then, of course, that very heavy tactical feedback where you had a lot of, tactical combat, one-shot kill. You didn't have tons of armor plates. If you got hit, you'd bleed out, that sort of thing. I would love to see any of that. So I'm really excited. I don't know exactly what this is going to entail. I think Ubisoft could expand on any of those games, and that's what makes this so fun. We could get another standalone Splinter Cell game. We could get another standalone Tom Clancy's The Division game, which I know we're going to get in Heartland. We could get another Ghost Recon game. Any of those are smash hits, in my opinion. Any of those are phenomenal and absolutely worthy of more, because we want more. Just give us whatever the last one was, make it better and throw it on. People will buy it. They are that good of games. They scratch an itch for me. I think that I don't find in other games, not the way that these games do it. I still play The Division 2. Kind of given up on Breakpoint, but I kind of want to go back just to at least beat the final boss, just to say I did it. And we haven't had Splinter Cell to play in, I don't know, decades now. Any of those games are amazing wells to dip from. But put them all together. Take the best of those three gameplay mechanics, and then your mind just starts racing. So we will see. I think this is way too soon for an E3 reveal, but maybe not. I don't know. Free to play, obviously, a very different animal at this point, because now you're going to start getting into payment models and how much content do you give away for free. Is there a way you could just buy into it where you just own something instead of like waiting for the funny money counter to re-roll or to be bombarded with microtransactions, because you just buy a chunk of the experience, kind of like what Quake Champions attempted to do, where it's like, hey, you can get a free-to-play character, or just give us money up front, or we're going to give you a bunch of stuff. You know, I would buy into that personally. I don't know. It remains to be seen, but all really cool ideas, all a lot of fun to kind of chew on. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this potential idea of a game. Does it turn you off because it's already PvP based, and a lot of people really prefer just to kind of play with their friends in like a squad setting against kind of like mindless computer opponents? Does this excite you because it's the closest thing we've had to Splinter Cell in eternity? What are your thoughts? Sound off below. And that's it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.